the next thing I want to do is I wanted to take you through what the process is on our side of the ledger and give you a little bit of a window, a little bit of a perspective of what we go through and how we go through our process of identifying talent and then eventually recruiting kids that we want to be a part of our program. So basically how we do things, and again, sometimes these things go in and out of order depending on, there's a lot of different variables. Recruiting is a very evolving thing, and it's not a science, it's an art. So there's so many different situations that you're dealing with. But typically, what we do first is we gather information. 90% of our job is done before we even watch you play, finding out about what your coaches and everybody thinks about you, what your character is, what they think of your play, what your family is like, and we'll get into that. Next, we want to watch you play. We want to see it for ourselves. We want to see if your play fits into who we are as a program. We'll talk about that. Then we build relationships. Building relationships is the fundamental gift of recruiting. That's what we do. That's the most important thing about what we do. Building relationships, so we're building connections, so people give us tips and can give us honest information on players all over the place. And then building relationships with kids and families if we want to get them to our school. And then at the end of the day, understanding from both the school side of things and from the family side of things, is this a good fit? Is the family and the player a good fit for our program? And at the other side of things, is this program a good fit for the family? And when that is a very happy and healthy marriage, it's a beautiful thing. And we'll talk about all this as we go through to the next slide. It looks like we got a couple chat, maybe a couple questions. You know what? I'm going to answer these through here. So I'm going to answer these as we kind of go through, because they're relevant to a few of the other slides that I'm going to be doing. Okay, so the information gathering stage. This, as a scout, whether you're professional, college, junior, whatever level it is our most important part of our job. And like I said, 90% of our work is done before even seeing you play. And a big piece of that is our networks are extremely, extremely big. So if we get a tip about a kid from Ontario, there's 10 people on my speed dial that I'm calling that I trust to give me information about that kid. If it's a kid in Boston, if it's a kid in Vancouver, it's a kid in California, wherever it is, we have people there that we know that can give us credible information on you. So, what I always like to joke about is, we're not watching video a lot. I shouldn't say that, because we are watching a lot of video as assistant coaches, but a lot of our day is spent on the phone and building those networks, building those connections, building those relationships with people in different areas, with families that we're looking to recruit. And so just gathering as much information so we can make the best decision possible on who we bring into our program. And a lot of that has to do with building trust. And building trust takes a lot of work. It's being genuine in what you do. It's truly caring about the process and truly caring about the people that you're interacting with. And, in this business, you can spot a salesman right away. When somebody's trying to sell you something, or when somebody is trying to there's an ulterior motive that you can tell that of the conversation that you're having, that doesn't build trust. Being honest, being upfront, and truly caring about the people you're talking to and the people that you're talking about, that is what builds relationships in this business. And that's what a huge part of our jobs are as recruiters. I have this phone up here at the top. This is how I used to get phone calls when I was being recruited in colleges. Phones they look a little bit different nowadays, but just wanted to take you through a typical phone call that I have with my connections in different areas. First thing I'm asking, especially as a coach of an Ivy League school, is what are their grades? That's the first question, because if the answer is their grades aren't very good, then we can just stop the conversation now. I don't even need to waste my time on it anymore. And I tell kids all the time, if you want to play Division I hockey, the better your grades are, the more opportunity you're going to have, because the more schools you're going to be able to get into. And there's so many really good hockey schools that are also very good academic schools. So grades, that's what I'm asking first. What kind of teammate are they? That's what I'm asking next. Are they the kind of kid that picks up the pucks? If you're playing junior hockey, are you a kid that loads the bus and unloads the bus? Are you respectful to your teammates? Those things are really important in our conversations. What is the family like? Parents have a huge part of the development process of players. And even at the college level, even when the parents know that they are not supposed to talk to the coaches, and they don't, they can still have a severely negative effect on the kids based upon what they're saying behind the scenes. If they don't agree with the coach and they're in their kid's ear, that's going to absolutely affect them. So on the other side of things, the positivity that some parents have, that is infectious. We want to be around kids that come from great positive families. And so when you come in and visit, we're not just interacting with the kids, we're interacting with the parents, and we're evaluating the parents as well. And then lastly, at the end of the day, can they play? That's obviously an important thing as well, but we're doing all of our research first, and then we can get to the can they play, and then we can go and watch them play and make a decision. Other things in our information gathering, we get really, really deep into it. What your coach says about you is so, so important. And if we trust that coach is so, so important. So we know that there's coaches out there that will sell us every kid that they have. And we can't trust those people, because if we do take a kid that isn't very good, but they told us was very good, and he comes to our campus and he's not very good at hockey, that ruins the chances for almost every other kid that is going to come through that coach's program, because now we don't know if he's telling us the truth, right? So what your coach says about you really, really means a lot, especially if it comes from somebody that we trust, that's honest with us about the evaluation of their kids. One of the things that we always like to do, because coaches are so vested in their players, and because some coaches are trying to sell their players to us and we're not really sure if they're truthful, we ask other coaches about what they think. And so one of the things that we used to do is, if there was a kid we were recruiting in the USHL, and he was on the Dubuque Fighting Saints, we would call up the Sioux City and say, hey, who do you think are the 2 or 3 best players on Dubuque? What do you think about this kid? And they'll give you an honest evaluation, because they have no skin in the game. So we're talking to other people, anybody that we can, that can know about what you're playing. And then at the end of the day, what day are we in the building? That, when it comes to information gathering, is just such a luck of the draw thing, but it's important. And this is the reason why. I feel like all players maybe play 20% of their games to the best of their ability. They stink for 20% of their games. And then the other 60% of their games, what are they going to do with that 60%? And how consistent are they going to be in that 60%? Because I can tell you this, I have gone to watch players that I have been told were really, really good. And then I show up to watch them play, and they're playing one of their 20% of the games where they just stink. But the caveat to that is, if that player is working really hard, if they have good body language, if they're, there's things that are intangibles with their teammates and all of that kind of stuff, I'll go back and I'll watch that kid play. If I go to a game and I'm told the kid is really good and he stinks, but he's not working hard at all, I'm not going to waste my time going back to watch that kid play again. So again, what day are we in the building? Sometimes it's the luck of the draw, but a majority of your games, you're going to be playing slightly above average, slightly below average, right around where you're supposed to be. And that's where we want to know what you are capable of when you might not be at your best, or you might be at your best. And it's an ever evolving process. Building relationships, like I said, huge part of it. We're always on the phone. We're always texting. Official and unofficial visits are so important to us, because you get to meet people face to face and really get to learn about them, and they get to learn about you. Building relationships with your network, and just trying to build that network of trusted people that you have so far and wide, so you can get as much information about who's popping and who's playing well from all different areas in the United States and Canada.